Hey, welcome back, Math Gurus. In this video is about volume of rectangular prisms, but instead of finding volume, we'll actually be finding height. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things. Let's remember that volume just measures capacity, and our formula for volume of a rectangular prism is volume equals area of the base times height, and our height is just the distance between both bases. This formula not only works for a rectangular prism, it works for all prisms. And then prisms are named by the shape of their bases, and all prisms have two parallel congruent bases. All right, let's go ahead and get started. The figure represents a water trough in the shape of a rectangular prism. The dimensions of the water trough are given in feet. The volume of the water trough is 70 cubic feet. What is the height? So in this case, it is telling us that this is the height. So that means that the top of the trough and the bottom of the trough would be considered our bases. For a rectangular prism, you decide what the bases are, unless in a case like this, it made the decision for you. I've heard teachers say that it's top and bottom. That's really not the case, not by definition. Okay, so let's start solving. I shaded my bases. It's not required. I encourage kids to do it. We're going to write down the formula. Now, we're going to solve for area of the base, which is length times width because it's a rectangle. And so it's 2.5 times 7. Now, I like to use the area model. I think it's just less work when you're versus converting it to improper. It doesn't really matter. But kids started learning the area model in 4th grade, so I like to just kind of go with what kids already know. 7 times 2 is 14, and then what's half of 7? 3.5. So my total for area of the base would be 17.5 feet squared. All right, so we're going back, and we're going to plug in 70 for volume. And I'm not going to use fraction. I'm going to use an equivalent decimal, which is 17.5 or 17 5/10. And I'm going to plug in the h because I'm trying to find height. So this goes back to a one-step equation. So I need to solve for my height. So I got to isolate that variable. I will divide both sides by 17.5. So 70 divided by 17.5. Well, I can't divide by a decimal, so I'm going to use the powers of 10 so I can get the decimal to move. So what that means is I'm going to multiply 17.5 by 10, which will allow me to move the decimal over 1. And then 70 times 10 is just 700. I hear kids tell me just move the decimal. I like kids to know why they're doing stuff. So I'm going to add 175. That gets me 350. Okay, I need to get to 700, but I know that if I double 350, I'm going to get 700. So what that tells me is 700 divided by 175 is equal to 4, which gives me the height. My height is 4 feet. All right, let's do one more problem in this video. The figure is in the shape of a rectangular prism. The dimensions are given in inches. The volume of the rectangular prism is 16.8 cubic inches or 16 8/10 cubic inches. What is the height? So in this problem that I created, I also decided just to make the top and the bottom the base. It's really just for editing purposes, to be honest. Okay, so I shaded my bases. I'm going to write down the formula. I just like to shade the bases, especially when you get into different prisms. So the formula for volume of a prism is volume equals area of the base times height. So I'm going to plug in what I know. And so what I know is that the volume is 16.8 And I know my area of my base is 12. So we're back to solving a one-step equation, meaning I need to isolate the h. So I'll use my inverse operations, and I'm going to divide both sides by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. And so now I'm going to solve it over here. 16.8 divided by 12. 12 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 16. And one group of 12 is 12. My new division problem is 48 divided by 12, which gives me 4. I got to keep my decimal there. I don't want to change the value. And the height is 1.4 inches. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped.